During CES 2023, Intel announced their latest 13th Gen mobile processors. Other than the H, P and U variants, they also shown us the top-of-the-line HX series for Core i9, i7 and i5 models. At the same time, Nvidia also releases the RTX 40 series laptops graphics card. That means this generation of gaming laptops will receive both CPU and GPU upgrade at the same time. What we have here is the ROG Strix SCAR 18 gaming laptop. This is ROG's flagship gaming laptop equipping with Intel Core i9-13980HX CPU and RTX 4090 laptop GPU. Let's find out what this laptop is capable of. Right now, ROG Malaysia is selling both SCAR 18 and SCAR 16 models. The SCAR 18 we have here packs the flagship components such as the Core i9-13980HX and RTX 4090. Meanwhile, the SCAR 16 will share the same CPU but with RTX 4080 instead. They are priced at 19,000 and 14,000 respectively. In terms of design, ROG has made some refinement to the outlook of the SCAR series. The lid is way cleaner now after they removed the ROG graffiti. Maybe I'm too old for that, but I don't think that is good looking at all. Open the lid reveals the brand new 18-inch 16:10 aspect ratio display. The bezels are reasonably thin, and finally the use of 16:10 aspect ratio reduces the bottom bezel's thickness. So ROG calls this a Nebula display. This Nebula display badge is like a quality control and specification standard that ROG has set to meet the minimum requirements of a gamer. ROG has included a 4-display profile in the Armoury crate: native, sRGB, DCI P3 and Display P3. We have tested the screen in native color mode and the colorimeter has reported excellent result of 99% sRGB color coverage and 97% of DCI P3 coverage. Mind you that this is only in native color mode. You can choose whichever color mode to suit your personal preferences and use case scenario. At the top of the bezel is a reverse notch that houses a 720p webcam, and it also helps with opening and closing the lid. ROG also tones down the overall design. Well, the keyboard zone will still get the slanted ROG logo line, but not as flashy as before, which half of the laptop is transparent. What is missing this generation is the termination of ROG keystone feature. Remember that little NFC tag that attaches to a special slot of the side of the keyboard? That will enable you some sort of feature such as triggering a special gaming profile, access to the encrypted shadow drive, or lock Windows when it is removed. On paper, the feature sounds great, but there are quite a number of features that I think it is not really that working well, such as the keystone is quite weak when you want to attach it to the side of the laptop. That means you will lose it quite easily if you don't be careful with that. And due to the encrypted nature of the shadow drive, if you happen to lose that keystone, then all your files inside the shadow drive is just gone case. Then my biggest complaint is still the fact that it is not compatible with Windows Hello, and you can lock the PC but cannot use it to log into Windows. At the bottom of the chassis, just like the last generation, ROG is incorporating the overall slanted line design to the rubber feet as well. Good looking and practical. Of course, there is never enough RGB for ROG Strix. Apart from the light up ROG logo at the back of the lid and per key RGB keyboard, the front RGB strip has been improved so that it no longer hinders the process of opening the bottom chassis, and the craziest upgrade is the additional RGB strip at the back of the laptop. The vent takes up the entire row, and the semi-transparent panel also acts as the RGB light diffuser that paints light at the wall or shower RGB and hot air to those who are sitting in front of you. Yes, my friends, ROG has placed a long heatsink at the back and improves the cooling capabilities of this laptop. More about cooling later. The removable armor cap is still around and you can 3D print it yourself just like last generation. However, for some reason the page where you are supposed to download the template file is not loading. So ROG, please look into it. Since the rear compartment has been taken up by the exhaust vent, all the I/O ports has been moved to the left and right side. On the left is a DC barrel charging port, 2.5 Gb Ethernet port, HDMI 2.1, Thunderbolt 4 and USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C port with DisplayPort 1.4 output. This port also supports 100 watt USB PD charging. And then we have this ultra high-tech 3.5mm combo audio jack. On the right we have two 10 Gb USB 3 Type-A ports. Now enough of the laptop and take a look at the performance. First of all, a bit of a disclaimer. While our review unit has 32GB of RAM, the official Malaysian unit will come with 64GB of RAM. In this test, I will be comparing the SCAR 18 with the previous generation SCAR 17 SE to see how much of an improvement there is still. So, starting with synthetic benchmark, Citybench shows a 13th gen absolutely slaughter the 12th gen Core i9. Intel also increases their lead in the single core performance with the new Core i9. The RTX 40 series also smokes the 30 series as seen on 3D Mark TimeSpy benchmark. This is the first time I've encountered a laptop GPU that is capable of reaching almost 20k scores. When it comes to gaming, this is where things get really interesting. Comparing it with the RTX 3080 Ti laptop, the 4090 laptop is consistently getting 30% or higher frame rates, easily getting over 100 FPS in AAA titles such as Control and Cyberpunk 2077. You can check out our gaming test video, link in the description below. And then the RTX 40 series also supports DLSS 3 frame generation technology. As seen in this graph, Cyberpunk 2077 with RT and DLSS is running at somewhere around 74 or 75 FPS. That is quite decent for a demanding game. What if we turn on the frame generation feature? Boom! 114 FPS on average. Honestly, I can't really tell the quality difference whether if you have this feature turned on or off. What I can tell immediately is the smoothness during gameplay. If you hate DLSS, hate the first generation. It was wonky and jittery, but not the newer generation. As for cooling, as I mentioned earlier, ROG has upgraded the cooling and to accommodate a long, extra long heatsink at the back, and there are now 3 fans inside the chassis. They are still using liquid metal as the thermal compound, so on average while we were gaming, we were getting about 90 degrees of CPU temperature and 80 degrees of GPU temperature. As for the battery life, due to the power-hungry high-performance components, don't expect the 19 Wh battery can last long. In Optimus mode, silent profile and with the brightness lowered to about 25%, you can get roughly around 5 hours plus or 6 hours of usage, depending on what you are doing on the laptop. However, if you decide to play game on battery, you will need to endure the lower performance and getting just about 1 hour of game time. So, in conclusion, how do I think about this ROG SCAR 18? To be honest, at this price range, as a flagship gaming laptop from ROG, of course it is expensive at about 19,000 for the SCAR 18 and the SCAR 16 is about 14,000. At this price range, you are really getting the best of the best. You're getting the latest generation of the CPU, latest generation of the GPU. You can use it for your performance demanding tasks and even games. That is really not an issue for you. Honestly, this is like for those who want the best out of best kind of performance inside their portable laptop system. It is like a portable PC they can bring around with them when they want to travel and to game whenever they can. So I think that's all I want to share with you about the ROG Strix SCAR 18. If you have any questions, you can always ask in the comment section below and we will answer them whenever we can. And I'll see you guys in the next video.